Hello everybody, it's Dylan from Anime and welcome to another My Hero Academia review. This time I will be reviewing episode 24 or season 2 episode 11. I immediately want to apologize for this being a little late. If you guys don't know, I like to be very timely with my content. I like to get it up within 12 hours of like subs coming out, let's just say as a general kind of requirement. And this is obviously a couple days late. This weekend was just a lot of personal stuff went on. So I do apologize for this being delayed. Kind of to make up for it, I think next weekend, I'm going to react to the episode 25, and I'll do a review that same day. So that should be a lot of fun. It'll be my first live reaction on this channel, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I do apologize for it being late, but let's begin, and I cannot wait to still talk to you guys about this episode down below. Generally speaking, what did I think of episode 24? I liked it. I thought it was good. It's kind of unfair, I feel like, to say it wasn't as good as last week's, because last week's episode was maybe the best episode they've ever done, Todoroki versus Midoriya, and it was always going to be tough to kind of not be in a hangover state from that episode. With that being said, I still enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a good episode, almost for one character entirely, and that is Hero Killer Stain. Stain makes his debut in this episode. Now, he was spoiled for me. As you know, I have not read the manga, but he was spoiled for me a couple of weeks ago. I really don't mind spoilers unless they're like hugely, hugely massive. Like, I saw his design in like a V-Jump leak or a Weekly Shonen leak, and I loved his design, so I knew he was right around the corner. And this was the episode where he makes his debut, and I thought his debut was unnerving. I thought it was chilling. I thought it was extremely well done. He takes out one of the top professional heroes. We don't see the fight between him and Ida's brother, but based on the dialogue, based on the condition that Ida's brother is in, I'd imagine that it was a pretty quick fight. I'd imagine that it was a pretty one-sided fight. And that is kind of disturbing to think about, because from what we know, Ida's brother is a top hero. He's a very respected hero, and this guy just ran right through him. So we don't know if Ida's brother put up a bit more of a fight than it kind of was implied, but a great debut for him. And just at the end of this episode, I know I usually like to go in a linear order. I think with this episode, I'm just going to kind of be all over the place, maybe try a little bit of a different style. So my linear kind of recapping everything might be a little different in this review, but I thought his debut was perfect. At the end of the episode, we have the portal guy. I got to work on names. I know a lot of the names, but there's so many names that I can't remember everyone's, and I get lazy and don't like to look it up. We have the portal guy. He kind of makes an offer to Hero Killer Stain, and he says, "We want you to fight for us. We want you to fight for the League of Villains." And the last shot we get is the hand guy, the crazy hand fetish guy who's just like in his weird den with his computer, which we've seen him a couple times this season. He just says Hero Killer Stain, and that guy's voice is phenomenal. I love that guy's voice. Is so creepy. It fits his character so perfectly, and that was pretty much one of the reasons this episode was so well done. I thought the introduction of Stain was great, and just the fact that we know these heroes are right around the corner, not these heroes, these villains are right around the corner because the tournament is coming to an end, is really, really awesome, because the villains, again, one of my favorite things of season one of my favorite things of the show so far. Cannot wait to see more villains, cannot wait to see more backstory with these villains, and can't wait to see them in action again. As for the fights went by very, very quickly. There were no long fights. I think the only one that was somewhat long was like Ida versus Todoroki, but that one wasn't extremely long. And then if another one was kind of long was Bakugo versus Kirishima, the guy who hardens, but they didn't really show us that fight straight up. It just was Bakugo wearing him down, and Bakugo beats him, and then he beats Tokoyami, and I was a little disappointed. I figured that the finals had to be, and I've said it, Deku versus Bakugo. Obviously Deku lost, that surprised me. And I was like, all right, well then it's either going to be Todoroki versus Bakugo or Ida versus Bakugo. Like, those are the only other two matchups I can kind of see. Probably going to be Todoroki, which that is the matchup, Todoroki versus Kacchan. And just because I thought on that right side of the bracket there was like no variables. Like, I knew that Kacchan, and I'm sure most people could kind of guess that he was definitely going to get to the finals. The only one that I thought had any somewhat of a chance against him was Tokoyami on that side of the bracket. And that matchup was a little disappointing. It was so quick. Bakugo is just an absolute beast. The guy is an absolute beast. I've said it before in reviews. I'll say it again. He's amazing. And so he gets to the finals, no problem. It looked like Ida was going to defeat Todoroki, that was probably my favorite matchup of these quick fights that we saw, but Todoroki very, very geniusly freezes the accelerators in Ida's ankles, and that freezes him up, and he forces Ida he kind of immobilizes Ida, and that's it. And that was that was a good match. But the other ones were, I felt, a little bit short, which was a little disappointing. We also got a very interesting scene with Midoriya, Recovery Girl, and All Might, and I forgot that all the other students haven't seen All Might in his weakened form. Obviously, they don't know it's All Might, but, like, Sue, Ida, Uraraka all walk into the nurse's office and they, like, scare All Might. I guess he's just easily frightened. And I think Uraraka says to him, like, "Oh, who are you? It's nice to meet you." And All Might's just like, "Yeah, nice to meet you too." And I was like, right, they don't know that. They've never seen this guy before. So yeah, even though they're just meeting him, they're not going to figure out that it's All Might, but it's just kind of funny that they've never seen him in his weakened state before. So I thought that was kind of humorous. And a very interesting line we get is from Recovery Girl, where she tells All Might, "Look, Deku has to learn how to control his power. I'm not healing him anymore. I'm done healing him." And that was very interesting because Midoriya, first of all, he got messed up really badly. I mean, some of his injuries were to his injuries were to the point where he needed surgery and that they weren't going to be fully healed from her. But he's always had this safety blanket. Ever since he entered the academy, he's always had this mindset where even if it's in the very back of his mind, where even if he really, really messes up his body, Recovery Girl will be able to heal him and will be able to get him out of any kind of situation he gets himself into with his quirk. Now he's in a situation where if he even breaks a finger or two, Recovery Girl, to my knowledge, I mean, unless she meant, like, if he gets seriously injured, I'm not healing him again. Maybe a broken finger, she'd heal him, but the way I interpreted it is that she's done healing him completely, and that she's kind of forcing All Might to make sure that Midoriya can start controlling his power, because it's getting out of hand, and it's getting dangerous, that he has this mindset where he can do whatever he wants, that he's almost invincible. And that is, honestly, I can't really blame her for that. He's got to learn how to control his quirk. He can't keep relying on Recovery Girl, especially because it seems like she is a very old woman, and so maybe she even knows that she doesn't have much time left. I mean, in 5 years, if he never learns how to control his quirk, when Recovery Girl passes away, if there's no one else with a quirk like that, he's kind of screwed. So he's got to learn how to control his quirk. So I like that line a lot. That safety net has now kind of been forced down. He probably has next episode to relax, and he's not going to need to use his quirk after next episode, which we know it will be the Todoroki versus Bakugo fight, which I'm very, very excited for. I'm going to put my money on Bakugo. I think he's going to win. I think Kacchen's going to win. I wouldn't be super surprised if Todoroki won, but my money is on Bakugo, or maybe it gets See, I thought at one point maybe it would, the whole like tournament would be interrupted by villains, but there's so many heroes in this stadium, there's no way that the villains are going to make a move. There's just no way. They'd have no chance. So it's definitely going to go through. I don't think it's going to be like a no result or anything like that. I think Bakugo's probably going to win. I just hope it's a really, really good match, because those two have had a bit of banter too before, so it's not like they're like great friends. I mean, then again, who's really friends with Bakugo? I mean, so that should be a really good fight. Hopefully it is a really good fight. So Deku's going to have the next episode where maybe he can just relax, but after that they're probably going to go back to the academy. Maybe these villains are going to invade and trap them again like they did in season 1. He's got to learn how to control his quirk, and fast. So I'm going to be very interested to see how he's going to do that. And even if he's unable to fully control his quirk, he's got to be able to do it to some degree where he's not, breaking his finger every time that he uses his quirk, or he uses a defense mechanism. He's got to be able to, I know he's not going to perfectly be able to get it under control, but even if he's hitting it like 2% of power, it still should be a very big blow, and maybe that's the key to not like blowing out your arm or something like that. I'm just very interested to see that plot line. We also got some really great interaction between Todoroki and Endeavor. He basically tells his dad, for a split second, I forgot you existed, and that's the only reason I use the fire side of my body. And his dad has this like shocked look on his face, and Todoroki just walks right past, and he's just like, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't really know. And that was an awesome, awesome scene. He basically just gives the middle finger to his dad and blows right past him. That was really cool. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. It was always going to be a bit of a hangover from last week's episode where that fight was just great. But between introducing Stain, I thought the fights for the most part were a lot of rush, but just seeing some action was kind of cool. Between the Deku, All Might, Recovery Girl kind of dialogue, and the Todoroki Endeavor scene, and just the typical great dialogue you have in all these episodes. I thought it was another really, really enjoyable episode of My Hero Academia. So let me know all your thoughts on this episode down below. I cannot wait to talk to you in the comments. Again, I apologize for the delay. It shouldn't happen again, but if it does, follow me on Twitter, Dylan from Anime. I'll link it down below, and I will always give updates on whether something's going to be delayed or something's going to be coming out. I might be doing a top 10 list at some point in the future, probably, definitely, actually, in the near future. So let me know all your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day.